You know, in a world of constant demonization, it's sometimes difficult to blame the right people for the right problems. So I just want to say, not including Elon Musk on the cover of Time about AI, but including Scarlett Johansson, and clearly a bunch of women that nobody knows of, as well as noticeably all the men that actually own and run the companies that have the biggest AI models in the world. Oh, we got to make them smaller than the women because these are boss queens here. We got a bunch of boss queens. But speaking of boss queens, fast reaction time that pissed her off. This might be the original boss. This might be like boss queen patient number 0. There's so many different things we could talk about here, but on average, Asian women aren't going to act this way, okay? White women aren't going to act this, for the most part, white women won't act this way. Iranian women won't act this way. Jewish women won't act this way. Ukrainian women won't act this way. You get the point, okay? The fact that she's in a dress and trying to act put together, look at her face right now. She's trying to act put together. Did not prevent her from essentially behaving like a juvenile ratchet. I don't know where this is from. This is like from The Bachelor. It looks like some sort of reality TV show, but it doesn't matter like what piece of media it's from. This is important for a lot of reasons. Now, apparently this guy in this video is famous and high status. I don't know who he is, but apparently he's in the top 1%, whatever. This girl is essentially a nobody from, let's just be honest, the ghetto, and she's acting like it here. Aren't I a boss queen? I'm going to pretend as though I'm composed after literally just having a tantrum and proving I'm not fit for society. Women want to be treated as if they're equal to men while doing things like this. The entire premise of her even being able to do that is that he won't beat her up immediately because she's a woman. That's the entire idea of it. Because if that was a man, there would instantaneously be physical consequences. But I'm going to get to that in a second because this is very important for women to understand, and this could end up being dangerous. Okay, so she dresses up in a dress. She wants to look composed. But the inner hood rat, and that's not my language, that's the language of people describing this, couldn't help but not be able to handle, I'm guessing, rejection or the guy not doing what she wanted, or let's be honest, not bowing to her femme-centric views of incoherence and chaos. So she picks up her chips and then throws chips at him, or whatever that was. I think it was chips. Dude. Also, I will say, it's kind of clean the way he just blocked it like that. That probably made her even more upset, let's be honest. Dude, look at her face there. Look, she's trying to act as though she's, like, emotionally composed. She's trying to mimic him. This is very interesting because women want to be treated as if they're the same as men. They go out of their way to, you know, act as though they're like men, and then they do stuff like this, proving that they're essentially children when they don't get their way, right? And look at her face. She's trying to mimic his composure because he's been remarkably composed throughout all of this. And he's dealing with her as if she's a child, you know, not arguing with her, not raising his voice, not flipping the table over, not throwing food back at her, simply blocking the projectile which he launched from her degenerately feminine ways. Now, she goes to pick up, this is really where you see she has mental problems because she continues to act as though she's calm while she's exhibiting behavior that is enormously mentally ill and antisocial. So she goes to pick up the wine. Maybe this guy's an athlete because his reaction time is really fast. He instantly grabs the cup. It spills out. It spills out on her. She tries to throw it at him again. It gets on her face. Incredible. He still doesn't put his hands on her. In like a violent way, I mean. You know what I mean? Okay, so he's trying to get her to leave, I guess, at whatever the setting is. You guys can let me know in the comments. He gives up. He decides to just walk away. She tries to push him. So now this is, I mean, actually, before that it was assault, but this is literally assault. You can go to jail for this. She pushes him. Maybe he's an athlete or something. Like I said, his reaction time is fast, but he's basically not swayed. Guys, there is a reason why black women are the least desired group on dating apps, okay? And black women complain all the time, why aren't black men dating us? It's their fault. They're not measuring up. But they allow stuff like this. They would cheer on stuff like this. This guy's clearly in the top 1% of men. And this woman is an overgrown juvenile child from the ghetto who's cosplaying as sophisticated in a dress. But as soon as she doesn't get her way, that all goes to the wayside. She goes to attack him. He casually deflects her into the pool. Let's go. And then just walks away. Skips away pretty much. And she has to have male help to hoist her out of the pool. And I use the word hoist on purpose, given that, let's be honest, You need a crane for that obesity, but I mean, start to finish, this was just such a disaster. This was just such a disaster for her, bro. And it looks like he's disappointed. He looks like he's disappointed in her. So she's getting angry right here. She's extremely furious. She's experiencing that type of rage where you can only see red. I don't know what it is for women. Maybe you can only see cat food or something, you know, when you're single. But she throws wine at him. Now, here's where I'm going to say what I was going to say earlier about how this could be dangerous. It's important women understand that there are men who will not react the same way as this ultra put together fellow did. Because while she's trying to act like a man, engaging in physical conflict, trying to shove him, throwing things, all while trying to, you know, act as if she's still calm and put together, there are guys out there that are waiting for a woman to try something like this and are more than willing to treat her as if she's a man, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to come out and say the words on YouTube, but I think you guys can get what I'm saying. There are men who think about stuff like this happening and are like hoping it happens to them, basically. And this is not a safe way of women operating. Women cannot think this is a viable way of behaving, not just from the perspective of it being antisocial and not socially acceptable and it being unladylike and against the law. I'm talking about from a safety perspective. This is a dramatically unsafe way to behave. Because right here, guys, it would have been very, very easy for him to have done something else. Very easy, right? But he's a gentleman. You know, he's in the top 1%. He's smart. He has a high IQ. He has a lot to lose, probably. You know what I mean? So it's different. And then she stands up. So even at this point, she still doesn't get the message. She still doesn't understand. She gets up and she tries to shove him. Right? He continues to just block the food. She goes to shove him. At this point, like a lot of other men, and I'm not even talking about a minority, like a lot of men would have done something totally, like radically different here. You know what I'm saying? But instead, he just basically steps out of the way and deflects her. This guy did the minimal amount of intervention with her, and she still ended up in a swimming pool and covered with wine, right? Whereas he walks away basically unscathed and a hero on the internet. There's so many different things we could talk about here, but on average, Asian women aren't going to act this way, okay? White women aren't going to act this, for the most part, white women won't act this way. Iranian women won't act this way. Jewish women won't act this way. Ukrainian women won't act this way. You get the point, okay? The fact that she's in a dress and trying to act put together, look at her face right now, she's trying to act put together, did not prevent her from essentially behaving like a juvenile ratchet. And this isn't attractive. You know, this is really not attractive. One more time all the way through. Fast reaction time, that pissed her off. Again, fast reaction time, she spills it on herself. He says, okay, you gotta go. She decides to attack him again. He deflects her casually. Dude, this is this is exactly how you have to deal with modern women. If there's not a pool nearby, use the proverbial pool and replace her. Because this is clearly degenerate femininity, right? I don't have to justify it, you just saw it. The only way to hold degenerate femininity accountable, because what defines degenerate femininity is a disregard for objective order, coherence, consequences, and parameters. And so she already doesn't care about breaking the social order, about being uncouth, about being uncivilized, about being ratchet. The only thing that she learns from is consequences. And the consequences, in this case, since she's clearly upset about him being a man doing something, not agreeing with her feminine degenerate ways, is for him to replace her with a different girl. That's why I'm also hoping this is like a dating show or something, because then he just replaces her immediately, and then she loses out on a guy in the top 1%. And I've looked at the comments. Apparently this guy is in the top 1%. He's famous or something. But that's what needs to happen here. And this is what black women complain about all the time when they say, why aren't black men dating us? Or why aren't men dating us in general? Again, the statistics and math show that they're the least desired on dating apps. But rather than take responsibility, and this is a left-wing trait right here, is that they deny the existence of an individual identity, which therefore abdicates them of any individual responsibility. Because if you're not an individual, you can't take responsibility for anything. And so they don't take responsibility for stuff like this, when this is clearly like ultra low value behavior, just completely antisocial. But at the end of the day, the only way people learn from this is through the consequences. And there are consequences. Again, I referenced the statistics on dating apps, but this is probably going to be, in terms of fame, a high watermark on her life. And this guy walks away essentially looking like a hero. Already people are debating online, though, and I'll come back to this. Like I said earlier, people are already debating online if he should have been physical with her. And that just goes to show, guys, that there are men out there that are waiting for stuff like this to happen and are not going to be like calm. You know what I mean? They're not going to be calm and collected like this, right? He just deflected her, but this could have gone really, really badly. Look, there's like, rocks around. There's like, there's hard surfaces. And women that act this way put themselves in danger and then will play the victim, right, if something happens. So this is the reason why a lot of boss queens are avoided. Look, this guy's already debating, asking people if he thinks the guy was too lenient. This is not a safe way for women to operate. To be clear, I do not think he should have thrown food at her or anything, because that would be engaging on her degenerately feminine substrate, and that just makes you feminine at that point because you're like stooping to her level. You're becoming her. And the reason why he's such a hero for this is because he handled it so well and essentially exemplified, just like Jordan Peterson exemplified Kathy Newman's incompetence by totally decimating every single thing she said with logic, reason, and enormous intellect. He decimated her with his calmness and stoicism. But at the very least, share this with women you know who might not be able to think rationally, might come to the defense of the woman for God knows what reason, just because, they're emotional, can't accept reality, at least so that they can understand this is not a safe way to operate. Believing that you're a boss queen and saying on podcasts that you deserve a guy that makes $1 million a month that is 6'4" is one thing. But manifesting your degeneracy in this way is an entirely different situation, and I don't want to see anything bad happen as a result of this female pathogen being spread. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think down below. Tell me what this was, and I'll see you guys in the next video.